Armstrong creates music and visual art under the artist name Seahorseseeker, blending narrative, emotion, and imagery to explore themes of healing, resilience, nature, and human experience. Susan's song played during our discussions on the fate of the Brumbies. We played it all the time. If you need a good cry and you actually have a titch of emotion, this is the song to really let those tear ducts go loose. And it's triggered a highly emotional response from our entire audience. It's just, as I said before, it encapsulates what is happening at the moment and how cruel it is. Her song explores themes of family, belonging and loss, while asking whether environmental stewardship and compassion can coexist. I don't know about that. Sue, do you think it can?
I very much believe so, and I really hope that we can change hearts and minds, and people will consider, stop and think and consider what's actually really happening here, and how we are, the fact that we're shooting Brumbies from helicopters. It just, my heart tells me that there's just got to be another way.
There has to be. It's terrible. Tell us about the thought process that went into writing the song.
Yeah, well, basically, one of my friends, she contacted me and she was crying, and she shared with me what's happening in the Snowy Mountains, and this was in early June, just a couple of weeks ago, and when she shared with me what was occurring, and she just couldn't stop crying. It was tragic, and I looked into it further and did some research, and I was appalled. I mean, the photographs, the sharing of how some of the horses have been shot, up to 10 bullets, and how horses are literally lying on the ground and they're injured, and the foals are crying, the mares are crying, the stallions are crying. It's just so tragic. And so when I looked into this, I was horrified. And there's so much sentiment out there. And there's a lot of polarized sentiment as well. So there's like kind of opposing views. So there were views that were very pro the call and views that were very anti the call. And so, and I said to my friend, what can we do? And she was very aware of the fact that I've been writing music. Well, all my life I've been writing songs and lyrics. But particularly in the last 6 months, I've been capturing my personal journey through music. And she said to me, why don't you write a song? And so I thought, yeah, that's what a great idea. And I had no idea that it was going to have the traction that it's had. But when I thought about writing a song, I thought about, okay, what would be the a way that you could potentially reach people and maybe change people's, help people to see what's actually occurring, that these animals are sentient beings. The Brumbies are incredibly intelligent. They, and I know you know all this, but they are they went to war with us. They're incredibly, as animals, they're loyal, intelligent, and they use, like with ride, kids who are disabled children, they're used for riding because of that, because of their nature. And so it just shocked me that people just didn't see that, thought that it was okay to call animals in this way. So I basically thought about, how can I reach hearts and minds? How can I change that perspective? And so I figured that if I was able to write a song that got people to stop and think, and if I did that from a Brumby perspective, and I could tell a story about a stallion, and my concept was that, as I did the research and I understood more about the terrain. I mean, I've been to the Kosciuszko National Park. I even stayed at the Silver Brumby Lodge, a skiing lodge, and years ago. And so I really resonated, I connected with what was happening, and I just thought, how can I tell the story? And so I wrote the story and storyboarded, the story of a stallion who's lived all his life in the Snowy Mountains National Park in Kosciuszko, and he's been, looking after his family. He's had foals, his mares, and he's been, leading his family through the mountains his whole life, and he's protected them, through the droughts, through the winter. And it's really tough terrain out there, and I kind of wrote the story that really that kind of tapped into that, and yeah, and that's how it came to life. And I'm so I don't know if the video, there's Ian and Michelle.
Mhm.
When I launched my song on Spotify, um, basically they very kindly said that I could use their images, and that gave the song a different dimension. Like, I think I had about 800 photographs that I looked through, a huge amount of photographs, and I literally chose the ones that really kind of helped me to bring the story to life. And I think I went through a box of tissues when I was putting the images to the music. It was so tempting, but it really did help in terms of bring to life what's actually occurring, and how these horses must be so afraid, and yeah, tragic.
It's interesting, isn't it? When I gather there's an accent there, and I probably think you're from the UK. Uh,
Yeah.
but see, I could be a great detective. But I'm just in the UK. There's a push now to do what's happening to the Brumbies. I think to the Dartmoor ponies. In the US, we have the Mustangs, those wild horses, being attacked and used for terrible, such as dog meat and stuff like that, and illegally shipped over the border to Mexico. And in Australia, we have the senseless, and it is senseless and based on lies, the attempted culling of the Brumbies, which is as much part of Australia as anything is, because they are very much, and 150 years they've been in the Kosciuszko National Park. So what we have is we have this ramped up attack on, some say anything good. I'll stick with the horses at this stage. Why are we? What's your thoughts on and all of it is to save the environment, by the way. What's your thoughts on the excuse? I mean, even Media Watch, they had a story, and we're going to reply to Media Watch. I think it was a very, 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 very. It was a nasty, nasty story, nasty piece from the ABC, but not surprised there. And they said that all the animals, one shot, and they had a vet that was the vet went out for 3 days in 2023. She did that, or 22, and said that after 3 days she saw no cruelty at all. And I thought, this vet must have superhuman powers. She's moving across the entire Kosciuszko National Park, watching all the shootings. So again, another government hit job. And you find that government in this country, in particular with the Brumbies, the New South Wales government, is appalling. Minns even said, Sue, that he thought that he wants the environment back to what it used to be. I mean, you might as well say, let's go back to the Stone Age era and have dinosaurs. You can't do that. We have to move on. But he said, time for people to enjoy the real Australia, go for walks, go hunting. I mean, so they're so out of touch with Australia, and this is the quintessential Australian story. And your song is the quintessential Australian song or global song about how we need to look after our animals and how we need to have respect for the environment, not the make-believe environment and our little wish list. We have to have more respect, don't we?
We do absolutely, and I agree with all the things you shared there. Brumbies are part of Australia's heritage. There's and what beats me is, and you touched on this, I think, on one of your previous shows. Back in, was it 2018, that the bill was passed that Australia, the Brumbies were protected, and then that was retracted back in 2025. I really do not understand why what's occurring is occurring. I don't understand how there's so yes, environmental issues. I'm sure there are, right, but at the end of the day, they're not just Brumbies, and there's so many other things that need to be looked at. So I think my perspective is that decision makers should be taking a very holistic, strategic view and looking at all the impacts on the environment, and against those different impacts, having a very clear plan of what they're going to do and how they'll address those things. But I think to go about doing what they're doing with the Brumbies, it's just completely inhumane. It's inexcusable. It's yeah, I am personally, I am very shocked, and is it, I've had hundreds, well, thousands of messages. In fact, I get since my song was launched on the 10th of June, so it's not that long ago. I've had over 1,000 messages, and the sentiment out there is overwhelming. The positive sentiment behind the song that I've written, the positive sentiment behind the fact that people are standing up, trying to give these horses a voice, because the horses, they're powerless. They can't speak for themselves, and it's incredible. It's shocking. It's just dreadful. I can't believe that we're doing what we're doing.
It's not how we should act. I mean, I was always told by my dad, if I disagreed, got a foot up the backside. But anyway, he, from the bush, of course, he said, animals rely on us entirely.
Yeah,
They do.
they do.
And we need to look after the animal. And truly, if you can tell me any animal that has hatred, then I'll probably reverse what I'm thinking. Animals don't have hatred.
No.
And they do rely on us being humans, and we fail so many times, and we're allowed to fail, but we need to learn from our failures, don't we?
We do, and what's really tragic as well is that there are so many people who who live in the Snowy Mountains who've built relationships with these horses. I heard about a gentleman that had a heart attack. There's so much impact obviously on the horses, and also but on people too. And I think all of this, I'm appalled by what's occurring, and I really do hope that what I am really touched by is the fact that there's so much passion and people who are coming together. There's so many groups of people who are really putting in so many hours of effort, and going to do the rallies, and communicating. Ashley Ave is coming all the way to Australia to support us in this, and it's incredible that, and I'm really touched by the support for the Brumbies out there. It's incredible.
Do you get emotional when you listen to it? I mean, it's a great story, but I have to tell you, even to talk about it, I have to actually block it out because it has had such an impact. What about yourself?
It's true. It's like, when I was writing the lyrics, I cried so many times writing the lyrics, and there were so many iterations of the lyrics as well, because I did want them to be impactful. But that was a problem, right? Writing the song, it was really moving, because I imagined I was a horse, and I really imagined I was a stallion on the mountains. And yeah, and I'm a mother. I cried. And when I was younger, I used to ride horses, and so yeah, I cried so many times writing the song, and then I cried so many times putting the images to the music, and I still get emotional when I listen to the song, especially there's a last shot in the video where the horse looks at you, and I just think
Don't do that to me.
yeah.
Don't do it to me. I'll burst out bawling. What else are you writing on? I mean, you'll be ordained a saint. I can see that standing out a mile. But what else are you working on? Because you are a very, very good storyteller.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I've been writing stories all my life. Yeah, I started off when I was, my family had a farm, and I used to find a few kittens that the farm cat had, and I'd go and sit in a hayloft and write stories and music. That's where my journey began. And so I'm currently, my next song that I'll put out there is a song about what must the universe think of us, and it was kind of inspired by how we're not protecting our environment, and how the war and all the things that are occurring. And yeah, I was kind of thinking about how can we stop and think about what we're doing to the planet that we live on. And I know that kind of like there's lots of thinking about traveling to discover other places that we could potentially inhabit one day, but my kind of yeah, thinking is why don't we spend more money looking after and more time looking after the planet that we've got. And so that's one of the things. I'm also writing a children's book, which is based on, there's a lot of I think the importance of feeling that you are enough, I think is something that's really resonated with me. And as a child growing up, I think many children growing up, they often, there's so much competition in the world today, and I think parents pushing children, people pushing children, and I think it's important that children feel enough just as they are, right? And I think that's a message that I wanted to get out there to little people. And so I've written a song. I've got 3 dogs. I've got Mr. Darcy, Miss Bronte, and Mr. George. And Mr. George, it appears in my book that I've written. And it's a story about a little boy and how he, with his dog, Mr. George, really learns about the fact that he's enough just as he is. So that's kind of my next thing. But these are projects that I've been working on for a long time, part of my healing journey, and things that I kind of pick up and do so that I can kind of do something positive and give back. And that's something that I've always been passionate about, giving back to the community. Yeah.
Yeah, you're very talented, and as I said, you're a great storyteller. If somebody wants to find out more about your music and yourself, how do they do that?
Yeah, reach out to me online. I've got a presence on Facebook. I am trying to learn how to use these other platforms. Like, I don't have much experience with with TikTok and things like that. So apologies if I don't respond to any of those of you on there, but I will try. But yeah, Facebook is probably so Seahorseseeker at Facebook.
Sue Armstrong, it's been a pleasure. We're going to, again, we played it before the last hour, we're going to play it again, your song. I will listen to it, and then I will go into a commercial break because I'll be a blubbering mess off camera. I have to thank you, personally, thank you. It's been a great journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting me on the show. Appreciate it.
Tell my fool I kept on running. Tell my mare I heard her cry. Tell the mountain I belonged here. Tell the wind I said goodbye. Brumby hoofprints etched for generations in the snow. I've watched the foals become the mares, the stallions old and slow. Here in the snowy mountains where my life began, across hills, ridges and open plains my fellow Brumbies ran. I've led them through winter storms, drought and summer rain, but I can't outrun what follows now. Shield my family from this pain. My ancestors crossed the oceans, but I was born upon this land. These mountains are my birthplace, the Snowies are my clan. These mountains hold our memories, our family history. If home is where you're raised, then this is where we should be. Tell my foal I kept on running. Tell my mare I heard her cry. Tell the mountain I belonged here. Tell the wind I said goodbye. Stay close beside me, little one. The thunder isn't rain. The sky itself is hunting us, and I cannot stop the pain. I gather those I love and turn to face the sound. Though every instinct tells me run, there's nowhere left for us and this is where we should be. As I fall upon the ground, thunder again and again. My heart grows quiet as bullets rain. I thought I had more seasons, more rivers left to roam, more sunrises with my Kosciuszko clan before the mountains called me home. Tell them I was born here, my grandfathers fought their wars. Remind them that this was our home, the snowy mountains were ours. Tell my fool I knew her fear, tell my mare I heard her call, tell my fool I tried to save them, tell the wind how Brumbies fall. Tell my fool I kept on running, tell my mare I heard her cry, tell the mountain I belonged here, tell the wind I said goodbye.